You know that feeling, right? That super simple, satisfying tap of your iPhone to pay for a coffee. It just feels effortless. But what if I told you that behind that simple tap, a massive power struggle has been going on for years? Well, for millions of people, the rules of that game are about to change completely. Okay, let's dive right in.
For as long as we've been tapping our iPhones to pay for things, it's meant one thing and one thing only: Apple Pay. It was the only game in town. If you had an iPhone, you were using Apple Pay for tap to pay. That was just the way it was.
But let's imagine a different world for a second. What if, instead of always defaulting to Apple's wallet, you could use your own bank's app, the one you already trust, to make that same tap-to-pay transaction? What if your bank could finally be your main digital wallet, even on an iPhone?
To really get why this is such a huge deal, we have to take a peek behind Apple's famous walled garden. For years, banks, financial institutions, and regulators have been knocking on that garden door, demanding an alternative to Apple having total control over tap-to-pay.
And this comparison really lays it all out, doesn't it? It's like a tale of two completely different phones. For years, Android has been this open field. Banks could create their own payment features right inside their own apps. You had options. But on iOS, it was a one-way street. Apple controlled the NFC chip for payments, and the only toll booth was Apple Pay. This gave banks next to no control.
And this quote from Nicholas Bruley at Entrust just nails it. Apple Pay became a global powerhouse not just because it was a good product, but because it was literally the only choice on iPhones. Its dominance was basically built into the system from the start.
And you can imagine, for banks, this was a massive headache. They were completely cut out of one of the most important interactions with their own customers. They couldn't tweak the experience, they couldn't innovate, and they had no real shot at becoming your go-to or top-of-wallet payment method. They were just another card living inside Apple's house.
But this is where the story gets really interesting. After years and years of complaints, the European Commission finally stepped in. They took a long, hard look at the whole situation and decided, you know what? It's time to bring out the sledgehammer and knock down some walls.
And believe me, this change did not happen overnight. You can see on this timeline, companies like Entrust were already helping banks on Android way back in 2016. Meanwhile, a huge regulatory battle with Apple was just heating up, and it all led to this landmark decision in July 2024 that forced Apple to finally open things up.
Just let that sink in for a moment. 4 years. That's how long the European Commission spent on its antitrust investigation. This wasn't some quick look. It was a deep, thorough process designed to break up what they saw as a digital monopoly over a really critical piece of tech.
And the impact is just massive. This quote here really gets to the heart of it. This isn't just some minor adjustment. It is a significant shift for the entire market. It's kicking open a door that has been bolted shut for years, creating this substantial opportunity for banks to finally compete on a level playing field.
So, okay, the walls are coming down. The rules have changed. But how, on a technical level, do banks actually walk through that new open door? How do they build their own wallet right inside an iPhone?
The key is a piece of tech called Host Card Emulation, or HCE. Now, it sounds fancy, but in simple terms, it lets a bank's own app securely act like your physical credit card. The app can talk directly to the phone's NFC chip, which means the app itself becomes your contactless card. This is the technology the EU told Apple it had to open up.
So here's how it works in the real world. A bank can now take a solution, like the one from Entrust, and build it right into their existing banking app. Then you, the customer, can digitize your card right there in their app. And thanks to HCE, you can now tap and pay with an experience that feels pretty much just like Apple Pay.
And this isn't just some idea for the future. No, it's happening right now. Entrust is already running pilots with this exact technology with several major top-tier European banks. The first wave of true Apple Pay alternatives is officially on its way.
All right, this all sounds great for the banks, great for the regulators, but what does it actually mean for you, the person holding the iPhone? Why should you care about this whole behind-the-scenes battle?
Well, this chart shows you the heart of it. Before, your bank had basically zero chance of becoming your default payment method. Now, since they can offer their own tap-to-pay, they have a real shot at winning that prized top-of-wallet spot. The race for your loyalty has officially begun.
So this is your new power. For the very first time on an iPhone in Europe, you're going to have a real choice. You'll be able to set your bank's app as your default wallet. That means a much smoother experience where your banking and your payments all live in one place. And that could open the door to all sorts of new features and offers directly from the bank you already use and trust.
Which brings us to the final and most important question. For years, the choice was made for you. But now the walled garden is open and the race for your tap is officially on. So who are you going to trust to be your digital wallet?